Okay, good afternoon, everybody. It's Kevin here, and what I'm going to speak to you about today is I want to give you a virtual tour of the school and of the arrangements that we've put in place for the return of our Year 6, our Year 1, our nursery, and our reception pupils. It was going to be a walk around, and I was going to take you around the school and actually show you the different things, but it proved too difficult in terms of me carrying my laptop around and showing you with the camera and things like that. So what I've done is I've taken lots of photos, but you'll still get a sense of the things that we've put in place to make sure that the school is as safe as possible for the return of our pupils. Just to reiterate, you do not have to send your children to school if you don't want to. Okay, so pupils in Year 6, nursery, reception, and Year 1 are invited in, but there's no compulsion on your part to send them in if you feel it's not safe or you don't wish to do it at this time. You can keep them at home, and we're going to carry on with all of our home learning and our hot meal collection, and all those things will carry on. I would ask, if you do change your mind and you do decide to send your children at a later time, if you could give us a call or drop us an email just to let us know so we can plan. Okay, right, so on with the show. So we have thought really long and really hard about opening the schools in any capacity from today. You will have seen this document, which is about 55 pages long. It's actually on the school website if you haven't had a chance to look at it. But if you've got any questions, I recommend that you have a good read of this document. It's still up there now, and a lot of your questions will be answered. It goes into quite a lot of detail, as you can imagine. So we wanted to make sure that we were doing things right. We wanted to make sure it was safe as it could be for our pupils and safe for our staff as well. So in compiling this document, we looked at a whole range of different advice. So there's some links here you can see. We've looked at government advice. We've looked at the Health and Safety Executive. There's a whole range of different areas that we looked at in compiling this document. It also went out to staff, so staff could comment on it, and some changes been made. It was shared with our parents and carers via the website last week as well, so you're fully aware of what we're doing. And I'm happy to say that we have got the certificate now, which says that we are COVID secure. Okay, so these are the 5 things that we are doing to make sure that our school is as safe as it could be. So we've carried out a risk assessment, and we've shared that with all the staff who work here. We've got cleaning and hand washing and hygiene procedures that are in line with the guidance, and that has been stepped up, and I'll speak to you about that in a moment. We've taken all reasonable steps that we can to ensure that some of our staff can work from home. We have some members of staff who are not able to come in for various reasons, and they're carrying on their work at home, and they'll be the people who are doing the one-to-one hangouts with the pupils that aren't in school. We've taken all reasonable steps to make sure we've got the 2-metre distance in place in the workplace. And where we can't have that 2-metre distance, we've done everything we can to manage risk. So we've put in place additional hand washing and all sorts of other measures as well to make sure that we keep that risk as low as possible. So the key to all of this is what we're calling up the bubble. So all of the children who are coming into school, as much as possible, they're with their regular teachers, but they will be in a bubble. And in that bubble, there is the teacher, there is a teaching assistant. At lunchtime, an assigned midday meal supervisor comes in and supervises those children. And there is no more than 15 children in that bubble. Okay, so in most cases, it's a lot less than 15, but 15 is the absolute maximum that we will have in each bubble. So from the moment you come to school, our social distancing starts. So we're asking the different year groups to use different entrances. So reception, if you can use the Roman road gates, the big black gates down at the end of Roman roads, and enter the school that way. Year 1, if you can use the main gates, so where the cars drive into school. If you're driving a car into school, you will go through the big main gates. So Year 1 are going to enter there. Year 6 are going to use the side church gate, and they did that really well today. And nursery will use the main entrance. And nursery, we're asking to come in slightly later at 9:15, so we have that staggered start time. We don't have too many people at the entrances at that time. So here you can see the year 1 entrance, the main gates, and it's clearly labelled with a sign saying no entry, year 1 pupils only. Here is the year 6 entrance, okay, which is the side gate. I haven't got photos of the other 2 entrances, but you get the idea. If you have children in both year 6 and year 1, obviously I'm not expecting you to run around the school really quickly and drop your children off at different entrances, but if you could just use 1 entrance and stick to that. Okay, but otherwise, only those pupils use those entrances, please. When the pupils enter their school, they're going to be lining up, and you can see this is year 6 today, lining up really well in the playground, 2 meters apart, and we've got marks in the playground so they can see where to line up. So year 6 will line up in this playground. Year 1 will line up in the year 3-4 playground, just like this. Reception will line up in their playground, and nursery will come in, and if they could just distance themselves in their playground, okay, as lining up. Parents, if you can avoid coming into school unless you absolutely have to, okay, and if you do have to come into school, then just make sure you maintain that 2-meter distance. All around the school, we've got these markings which show and remind us about keeping those 2-meter distances. So on the left here, you can see the entrance to the office, and in the corridors on the floors, we've got these arrows showing the pupils and the staff which way to go and reminding us to keep our distance. They are also on the stairs. So we've got this one-way system going up and down. Along the corridors as well, we've got these arrows spaced out every 2 meters to remind everybody about that distancing. And the toilets, all of the toilets have got signs on them saying maximum 1 person to use these toilets at a time. So 1 person in, 1 person out. And we are speaking to the children about that to make sure that's really, really strictly followed, because that's really important. In classes will look something like this. So this is Sarah Alley's bubble today in 6E. So you can see the pupils that are spaced out at the tables, and you can see Kerry there as the TA. Sarah is the teacher, obviously. And at lunchtime, the midday meal supervisor comes in, takes the children, and they have their lunch. Okay, and they stay in that bubble all day long. Just let me just show you there, this child here has brought a water bottle to school. So as part of this, we've taped off all of the water fountains around the school. So it's really important that your child, if they're coming to school, brings a named water bottle. Here is another class, another bubble. So this is Sarah Brown's. So you can see Krupa there, the TA, and the children in class there all sitting spaced out. You can also see on the tables, they've all got individual pencil cases. So we're giving all of our pupils individual pencil cases, which will have their materials for the day. So we are trying really, really hard to not use shared resources. We don't want to use them at all if possible. So every child that comes into school will have their own individual materials. It's not just the pupils as well that are social distancing. So here is our lovely kitchen staff, our kitchen team, and they're having their morning meeting there in the hall, and they're all sitting 2 meters apart. So all of the staff are making sure that we follow this guidance as well. So at lunchtime, the children will come down to the hall, and they've all got staggered lunch times. So they come down at different times, not all together. They pick up their hot packed lunch, just like the ones that have been collected at the gate. And then they're going to take that outside, and they will eat their lunch outside. Okay, if it's raining, hopefully it won't be, but if it's raining, they will take that back to their classroom. So we won't be eating meals all together in the hall. These lunches, by the way, are also the ones that can be collected at the gates between 12 and 1 every day. At playtime and at lunchtime, we have sectioned off our playgrounds. So this is the nursery playground. You can see it's been divided in half. And one class, one bubble will play in one half, and one class, one bubble will play in the other half. And they'll be supervised by the staff that are in their bubble. And that's the same for all the playgrounds. So here is year 1 and 2. Again, that's been divided in half. Unfortunately, we can't use the climbing frames at this time, so all of the climbing structures have been taped off in each playground, and the children won't be permitted to go on those. Just like the public council playgrounds, they're out of bounds at the moment. So here's the year 5 and 6 climbing frame. Unfortunately, that's been taped off as well. There may be a time we can reopen that, but for the time being, that's closed. In addition, we have spent about £30,000 on additional cleaning. So here are some of the things that we've bought in. You can see we've got boxes and boxes of antiviral disinfectant. So this is just the spray that can be used in classrooms to clean materials and to clean desks. We've also got buckets and buckets of antibacterial gel, and that is throughout the school. So we've got litres and litres of the stuff, and every class has got their own individual pump, plus it's in shared areas such as in the waiting room and in reception when you come in. And also there you can see the antibacterial soap, which is in all classrooms, all toilets as usual. Okay, so that's just a brief tour of some of the things that we're doing. As I've said, the greater detail is in that document, which is in the school on the school website. So if you want more information, have a look at that. Just a couple of other things. As I've said, your children don't have to come to school. Okay, if you don't want them to come to school, it's absolutely fine. They can stay at home with yourself and everything else will continue. So the hot school meals collection, that will still take place every day from 12 to 1 o'clock at the front of the school. You can come and get your hot dinner. Home learning for all pupils not in school will continue. So if your child is in year 6 and you're choosing them not to come into school, they will still have their Google Hangouts, they've still got their Chromebook at home, and they will still do their home learning at home. So just make sure your children are ready for their Hangouts. If your phone rings and it's an unknown number, it's probably us, so please answer it. Key worker and vulnerable pupils are still welcome in any year group, and we'll take care of those. And with regards to yourselves, please only come onto the school site if you absolutely need to. So unless it's really, really urgent, please email or phone into the school, because obviously we want to try and keep numbers as limited as possible on school. Okay, so the telephone system, we've got staff in the office every day, and we're monitoring the email as well. So anything non-urgent, please phone or email in. Okay, if you do change your mind and you've got children in nursery reception, year 1 and year 6, and you want them to come into school, that's absolutely fine. If you can just give us a call or drop us an email so we know and we're not overwhelmed with huge numbers, okay? Ideally, a couple of days before, if not at least the day before, so we can expect them in and we can plan for them on that day. Okay, that's the end of it. Thank you very much. Take a look at the document on the website. We'll be doing all the usual things this week, so we'll have our virtual assembly on Friday. Make sure you join us for that. It might be a bit different this week because we've actually got some classes at school that will be joining us live in school, so it could be interesting. All of the other things, as I've said, will continue. Home learning, come and get your hot meals every day at 12 o'clock. Any questions, please email them in. Otherwise, take care, and we'll be seeing some of you soon.